up, guys? Welcome back to the GN10. I'm Patricia, and we are getting right into it today with less than 2 weeks until the games begin. And we leave tomorrow for Paris, so I'm very excited. There's a lot going on. If I look tired, it's because I am, but a lot of excitement to come. So today we're really going to talk about kind of a high-level preview of the games and the schedule, who is officially competing in Paris, and then a couple small news items to hold us over until next week. So, first off, we know that obviously artistic gymnastics will be kicking off the games essentially on July 27th. July 26th is the opening ceremony, so no competition will be happening that day. July 27th is the start of qualification for artistic gymnastics. Before that, July 24th and 25th is podium training, and we will be there for podium training. We'll be providing live updates. We do a live updates blog where we do notes from podium training, quotes, news, etc. So make sure to subscribe to Gymnastics Now to have access to that. And then we jump straight into qualifying, 2 days of qualifying, men's qualifying first, women's, and then men's team final, women's team final, men's all-around final, women's all-around final. We take a break on August 2nd. That day is dedicated to trampoline, which we will also have coverage of in Paris, so make sure to tune in for that. And then 3 days of event finals. So quite a packed schedule. Competition for artistic gymnastics ends on August 5th, and then we will also have coverage of rhythmic gymnastics in Paris, and that will take place August 8th to 10th. So there's a little break there, August 6th and 7th, when I will be catching my breath. We're going to go enjoy some beach volleyball and golf at the games, and then jump right back into it. So it is a packed schedule. Gymnastics as a whole, the 3 disciplines, spans the entire games essentially, and it should be exciting competition in all 3. So kind of looking at a high level of who is competing. So the International Gymnastics Federation, FIG, FIG, whatever you want to call it, released late last week the nominative lists, the nominative rosters of who is officially competing in Paris. So this means that these are the athletes that countries have submitted, and these are the athletes that, unless something happens between now and the start of qualifications, qualifying, whatever, these are the athletes that will be competing, unless for some reason they have to fill in an alternate. So these are the athletes that will be entering the village later this week, and it just depends, obviously, if the country qualified a team or individuals, and on the website we have broken down and listed all of the athletes entered. So artistic, trampoline, rhythmic, all of them, and then we've broken it down by teams, individuals, groups, etc. So just kind of taking a high-level view at what is going to happen with the competition in Paris. Let's start with the men, because that is who is first on my screen, and if you hear a meow, that is because it's my cat. So who I will miss both of my cats very much for the next month, but their uncle will be taking care of them, so they'll be in good hands. So as far as the men's competition goes, China is easily the most decorated team out of all of these teams, and it's very interesting because the team is packed, the main five team members, but the alternates are even more interesting in the fact that Shi Kong, the national all-around champion for China this year, is an alternate. He's not on the main team. And a lot of people have discussed that, been like, whoa, kind of like, that's a interesting choice, but not to say that the rest of the team is not very talented. And then, of course, there's the resurgence of Xiao Ruotong and Zhang Boheng, and I'm working on my pronunciations of these names, so bear with me, but those two, obviously we've got Xiao, who was a medalist in Tokyo, and then Zhang is the reigning world all-around champion, and he will be one to beat in Paris for sure. So to have them on the team, and then you have Zhou Jingwan, who is the parallel bars aficionado of the world, just probably the best parallel bars worker of all time. I don't feel very controversial saying that. He is one of the best specialists of all time, and just very talented, easily expected to win, probably run away with the parallel bars title in Paris, and then he's also very talented on rings. So this team as a whole is very strong. The other teams to watch out for, Great Britain seems to be emphasizing the individual medal potential, but still has a very strong team overall. Max Whitlock has indicated that this will be his last games and has been kind of lamenting as such on his social media as they've been in training camp and going through all the motions leading up to these games. So it seems that he is really done after this, so it'd be very interesting to see if he can win another Olympic gold medal on pommel horse. And then you have Jake Jarman, Luke Whitehouse, Harry Hepworth, Joe Frazier, all very talented guys. Of course, you've got Team USA, who we kind of talked about in last episode. Asher Hong, Paul Judah, Brody Malone, Steven Nedorosic, and Fred Richard. And then there's Team Japan, who has Daiki Hashimoto, Kazuma Kaya, Wataru Tanagawa, and it's obviously Daiki and Zhang's friendly rivalry will be one to watch for that all-around title. But they have a lot of respect for each other, and it's very well documented in the Japanese media, Chinese media, and just in general. They clearly have a lot of respect for each other and know that they push each other and that they both want each other to have a fair battle, basically, when they face each other. Not just now, but in general, to see who comes out on top that time. So be very exciting. Of course, Daiki is the reigning Olympic all-around champion. And there's a lot of other strong athletes in this men's field. Oleg Vernayev. On the Turkey team, you've got Imre Dodonli, who competes for Oklahoma, one of their stars, and will be joining an all-star roster that has qualified Turkey to the Olympics as a team for this first time in artistic gymnastics. So full roster is on the website, but we'll go down to got a lot of individuals. Arthur Mariano for Brazil was selected by his country to represent Brazil, along with his countrymate. Let's see, I believe it's Yuri. I need more coffee today, but I cannot find it. Diogo, sorry. Yuri is one of the alternates, but Diogo Suarez and Arthur Mariano are the Brazilian athletes for individuals for the men. And then we go down to the women. So, of course, Team Brazil is Rebeca Andrade, Jade Barboso, Flavia Saraiva. A lot. It's just basically, I believe this is their world roster from 2023. Exactly, if not one athlete switched out. I believe it is exactly, though. Canada, of course, is led by Ellie Black. You've got a Chinese team that is stacked with exceptional beam workers. France, of course, again, it is heavy on that 2023 team that won a world medal, and that includes Marine Boyer, Melanie De Jesus dos Santos, Colleen Deviard. So very strong team there. Definitely have the potential to get on this podium again if they hit and do what they're capable of. Great Britain has Becky Downey, Alice Kinsella, Georgia May Fenton. They've got the young Abby Martin. And then they have actually US to GB transfer. I don't really know how you'd call it. Charlotte Booth, who recently switched to representing Great Britain. She's an alternate, but cool to note. And then the Italian team looks very strong as well. Of course, Manila Esposito is expected to contend for medals on multiple events. She's been looking exceptional, and I think she could definitely be in contention for an all-around medal. And then, yeah, you just have across the board, there's a lot of big standout names. You've got the Weaver sisters for the Netherlands. And then, of course, you can't look at this roster and not think about the athletes that we've lost, which is not to say they passed, obviously, but just lost out on the opportunity to compete in Paris. So very sad that injuries have really hindered this roster, but still a very strong roster, and all of these athletes, of course, deserve to be here. So it'll be very exciting to see all of them compete. And of course, that's not to not mention Team USA, Simone, Jade, Jordan, Suni, Hesley, who don't even need their last names mentioned to know who they are. So, and then we also have the trampoline athletes and the rhythmic athletes listed. For the U.S., trampoline will be Alexei Shostak and then Jessica Stevens. And for rhythmic, the U.S. will be represented by one individual, which is Evita Kriskinas. And they are expected to do well. I think that Jessica, she became the first world medalist for the U.S. in trampoline in, I think, like 40-something years last fall. So she has a chance to become the U.S.'s first Olympic medalist in trampoline. Alexei is looking to become the first U.S. man to make a Olympic trampoline final. And he's definitely looking for redemption after falling in Tokyo and not advancing to the final. So very exciting games to come all across the board, not just in artistic. So I definitely recommend tuning in to watch trampoline and rhythmic, and of course follow our coverage as we dive deep and tell these stories. The specific news that I wanted to touch on before we close, obviously trying to get out of here quick, is certainly the teaser of Rebeca's triple twisting Yurchenko. So a Brazilian outlet, I don't know if it was the Brazilian Olympic Committee, posted a video essentially of her training a triple twisting Yurchenko, definitely under-rotated in the video, but obviously training it, obviously had a ton of power, and it looked like it was from a couple months ago, on kind of teasing it in like last week, I believe, maybe about 2 weeks ago, but she seems to have been training it. There was some discussion that they released that information or released this video without, she didn't want that. But all that to be said, the triple twisting Yurchenko could be coming in Paris, depending on how Rebeca is feeling and what she's doing. Obviously, she has a beautiful chung, and a TTY, which would be named after her if she were to successfully compete it. Could be huge, and it would certainly help close the gap between her and Simone, specifically in vault finals, but also, well, I would assume that this would probably only be debuted during vault finals. She has a beautiful chung that she can do during all-around final. No reason to risk injury or what have you to complete a triple twisting Yurchenko, so it would most likely only be in the vault final. And of course, Rebeca is the reigning Olympic vault champion, so she already has that. So she kind of has nothing to lose in the fact that she could compete this, hopefully not chuck it. Hopefully she's since mastered it and it looks really good and she's able to do it. And that could be a huge story for the vault final. It doesn't necessarily mean it would still be valued, presumably. It hasn't been given an official value, but presumably lower than the Yurchenko double pike. So it wouldn't close the gap completely with Simone, but if Simone were to make a mistake, specifically fall like she did at the vault final last Worlds when Rebeca won and she got silver because of that, then she would be able to swoop in and potentially get a second Olympic vault title. So very exciting. And then of course yesterday Simone posted a little thing on Instagram, and it said last practice, all the fields. It was a photo of the big world champion center sign at her gym. They are going off to camp this week before they fly to France later this week. But it begs the question, is this the last practice for Simone at World Champion Center ever? I don't know for sure. You can obviously tell that Simone is very talented and could easily continue on to LA, but the signs kind of point to that she will retire after Paris. Of course, that doesn't need to be the discussion right now. That can be discussed after she's achieved all these things. But this is her third games, and the indication that we got, especially in post-trials media with Jocelyn Robertson, is she was saying that she was like, Simone's leaving, Jordan's leaving, Cecile and Laurent are leaving, and she meant WCC. She was talking about that. She's, of course, going to Arkansas, but she was kind of asked a follow-up, which is, do you think Simone is done after this? And she said yes. She said that I think she wants to focus on being a wife and living her life. And so I think that we shared that just to say, like, you know, maybe what's happening. We'll see. But kind of last practice, all the feels, her emojis and stuff, it kind of just leans toward this will be her last practice as a competitive gymnast in World Champion Center, which of course her family or her parents own. So we will see, of course. I doubt that will come even after she wins her last medal in Paris. That might come, maybe it'll come then, or maybe most likely she'll probably take some time and then announce it. But I would lean toward, at this point, saying that she will retire after Paris. And yeah, like Jocelyn said, go live her life. Go to Chicago and support her husband, who will be playing for the Chicago Bears this fall. But you never know. She's obviously very talented. It could easily, it seems from the onlooker's eye, continue to LA. But I think after Tokyo, I never assumed she was going to retire. I was just like, no, she's going to come back. She has that fire. I know it enough from covering her. But this time around, I think that if everything goes according to her plan and her goals and what she wants to do in Paris, then I think it will be the last we see of Simone as a competitive gymnast, which is sad, but it will happen eventually. So we'll see if it's in the City of Lights or if it's in LA. So, but that is it for us today. Kind of went over all of these high-level things. Of course, go to gymnasticsnow.com. You can see the schedule. You can see who's entered. You can see the draw for like the mixed groups, the individuals and everything to see when they're competing. I've got all that information. And like I said, we'll be traveling tomorrow and then we will pick back up in Paris. So once competition starts, once podium training and so on starts, we'll be doing basically daily podcasts. So we'll do one after qualifying. We'll see about after women's and men's qualifying or just after qualifying as a whole, and then after each final. So we'll be doing those regular podcasts, so make sure to subscribe and stay in touch for updates and subscribe online as well. So have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.